Hello. My name is Jake. I am a strategist, class 2018, and I am very honored to welcome Cecelia Parrish as our guest speaker. It's a great fit because not only is she a VCU Brandcenter alumni, but she also works at the Martin Agency, and without them, we wouldn't have this incredible program that we have today. In the 2 years that she's graduated, she has achieved so much in the advertising industry. She has won 5 prestigious advertising awards in 1 year, and also has worked for 2 agencies, Deep Local, now the Martin Agency, and has worked for world-renowned brands such as Google, Nike, Land Lakes, and Netflix is a big one as well. And when you hear that, especially as an older person in the Brandcenter, it's really intimidating. But once I got to talk to her, I realized that she's an extremely passionate person, and what has really driven her success is that she is always curious and always wanting to learn. And it's not just advertising, but like culture, and she's always willing to talk to different people. And I think that speaks volumes, especially when you're as successful as she is, and she's still not afraid to ask that question, why? And with that, I introduce Cecelia Parrish.
Thank you, that was awesome. Can you guys hear me all right? I was wrestling with this mic earlier, so not super inclined to technology sometimes. Even though I love it, it doesn't love me. So, good morning everyone. This is the weirdest feeling to be back down here, but I'm really excited. I know that I am supposed to talk to you guys about attention spans and content, and how do we create content that grabs your attention spans and makes you interested and keeps your focus. And that's definitely something that is important. Every single one of us is a digital native. Every single one of us knows that we are constantly bouncing from Instagram to Snapchat to Twitter to our email. We are always looking at different pieces of content, and it's harder to keep our focus. Anyone who's worked on a team knows that you have to work incredibly hard to get people to pay attention, to listen to you. Now that I'm out in the working world, I've learned it's incredibly hard to keep your clients paying attention to you. You hear that dead silence on the other end of the phone, and you know, you put me on mute. You're not listening to a word I'm saying. So it's definitely something that is important, and something that I really want to talk to you guys about. But as I was thinking through those points and, what do I tell these people? What are the important things for me to talk to you about? Is it muted play? Is it one-to-one vertical video? Is it thinking mobile, social first? What is really important that these guys have to know? I started thinking about when I was sitting in your seat, and it wasn't that long ago, and thinking my first Friday Forum ever, and then my first Friday Forum as a second year. What would I want to hear? And more importantly, what would I need to hear? Skills are really important. Learning how to design content and communicate with teams in a digital age where the average human's attention span is 8 seconds, that is something we all need to know. But you can learn that. And you can learn those skills anytime, and you guys will probably learn them because you are digital natives. So I started thinking, what would I want to hear? And what would make my time at Brandcenter have been better? What would have made me a better student, and what would have made me a better junior when I graduated? So there's going to be a little bit of a change up on you in terms of topics today, where I really want to share some lessons that I wish I had known, and I wish I had taken to heart when I was here as a student, and I think they would have made me take in more during my 2 years there, and definitely made me feel less stressed, less inadequate, and less what the hell is going on when I graduated as a junior. So the new title of this is Don't F This Up, and Other Life Lessons. I started thinking about what could I tell you guys that you don't already know. As Jake pointed out, I am probably younger than quite a few of you. I have not been in the business that long. There are a million people here who are more qualified, they're smarter than I am, they're more talented than I am. Down the street at Martin, everyone I work with is definitely more equipped and more qualified, my boss being one of them, my other boss being another one, and the other boss being the other one. My coworkers that I work with, they are far more talented than I will ever be. They seem to know everything. I, most days, don't even really know what I'm doing. I walk around hoping that no one realizes this chick has no idea what she's doing. She shouldn't be here, just like you guys are probably figuring out right now. I feel like probably all you guys in the audience are sitting here thinking, wow, she's crazy. Why do we have her here? And I'm waiting for everyone to figure out that I shouldn't be here. I'm not smart enough. I shouldn't have gotten hired at Martin or Deep Local. I don't know how that happened. That's a nutcase. And I'm waiting for the hammer to fall and everyone to wake up and realize that I shouldn't be here. Does anyone else ever feel like that? You're walking around and you think, when are they going to realize I have no idea what I'm doing? I'm making it up. Yeah. All right. My first day at Brandcenter, I sat there and I listened to them talk about decks and presentations and dongles and all this stuff, and I'm looking around and I'm like, should I know this? Oh God, what have I gotten myself into? Why am I here? When are they going to realize this is a giant mistake? And I kept that feeling through first year, through my internship, through second year, thinking everyone is smarter than me. Everyone knows all these things that I don't know. They are more talented. They write better briefs. They know what an insight is and where to find it, and I still can't figure that thing out. They all know this. And especially as a first year, it was intimidating coming from a non-advertising background, thinking, I don't know any of this stuff. Will I ever figure it out? But what I realized when I graduated and when I started working at Deep Local and working at Martin is that you can't think that way. You cannot doubt yourself. You cannot be the one sitting there thinking, I don't deserve to be here. A very wise person who so happens to be here this morning, sitting right there staring at me, he told me that you cannot suffer from imposter syndrome. You cannot be your own worst enemy. You have to believe in yourself and you have to have confidence in yourself. Otherwise, no one else will and you will fail miserably in this business. That was the hardest lesson I've ever had to learn and the one that I needed to learn first. And it's taken me up until maybe 3 months ago to finally get there and to understand that I have to believe in what I'm doing. I am smart, I am talented, I am good at what I do, just like every single one of you. So that is my first, oh yeah, too late, I already effed it up, guys. That is my first piece of life lesson, wisdom, whatever, that I want to impart on you guys because it is the most important. It is what you have to learn first and foremost in this business. It doesn't matter if you've only been in advertising for 1 week, 1 day, or 10, 15, 20 years. You have to be confident in yourself and you have to trust in yourself. All of your teams are looking to you. They are looking to you to be the authority in whatever it is you do, whether it's strategy, whether it's account, whether it's creative, project management, production, even our business affairs, analytics managers, every single one of them, you're an expert in your field. You know what you're doing, and you have to believe that because everyone is coming to you. And if you don't believe in yourself, why should they trust you? Why should they listen to you? So rule number 1, be confident in yourself and know that you are a badass and you can do this. You can always be better, but at your core, everyone in this room is smart and talented and can do amazing, incredible, game-changing, world-renowned things. So know that, don't ever forget it. Remind yourself that every single morning and handle everything and don't doubt yourself because it will destroy you. So I was at Deep Local after I graduated, and it was a very interesting kind of place. We had this painted on our wall that said, think like an amateur. And I walked in and I was like, that's an interesting phrase. And what I learned there, which is probably the best lesson that I ever took away from Deep Local, was it's okay to not know what you're doing. Just like you have to be confident in yourself, you also have to be smart enough to know what you don't know. And that was another really hard lesson for me to learn. Here, you're taught to be an overachiever and you're taught to push, to be your best, to be better, to always improve. It's competitive and we want to succeed and we want to be the best that we can be. So sometimes it feels like you're a failure if you don't know all the answers. It feels like you must suck at your job if you can't answer that question right then, if you don't know how to do something that someone asks you. But getting out into the world, realizing that it's okay to not know. You shouldn't just say, I have no idea, and walk off. You need to be able to say, I don't know, but I will learn how to do it. I will figure out how to do it, or I will find the person who knows how to do it and bring them into it. that was something that was really, really hard for me because anyone who works with me will tell you I'm a chronic overachiever. I'm also someone who likes to problem solve and I have a little bit of FOMO. I like to be involved in everything. So admitting when I don't know what I'm doing, I don't know what CRM is, I don't know what SEO is, I don't know best practices for website UI, that's hard for me. But once I was able to do that and say, okay, but I know that Demian is a badass at CRM, and that Greg knows everything there is to know about comms planning, or Jordy is the king of all website anything. Once I was able to realize that and say, can you help me? Can you teach me? I want to learn. Or, hey, I shouldn't be in this project. It really should be you. I'm going to pass it on to you. Once I learned that, it made me a better team player. It made my projects better, and it made me happier at work because I didn't feel like a failure. I didn't feel like, wow, I don't know what I'm doing. It's okay to not know. No one is an expert in everything, and you shouldn't be. That is why you have a team, and that is why you have brilliant people surrounding you all the time for help. So don't be afraid to go and ask people for help or how to do something or how to teach you how to do something. One of my favorite things at Deep Local was this teaching attitude. But it was also a very scrappy place where you had to kind of learn by trial by fire. And I was a part of a project that was very machine heavy, coding heavy. It was a tech project, which I knew nothing about. And I had to figure out how to help be a part of this project with this website redesign. And I knew nothing about websites, but they're like, you can totally do strategy for a website. And I'm like, maybe, yeah, I don't know. And once I started investigating, I realized I don't know what strategy for a website looks like. I don't understand any of that. And I panicked and I sat there and I was like, oh my God, if I go and tell them I don't know how to do strategy for a website, I don't even know what that means. They're gonna think I'm terrible. They're gonna think I'm worthless. They're probably gonna get fired because I'm not doing my job right. And I had a nervous breakdown for a solid 8 hours trying to figure out, okay, how do I teach myself how to do all of this stuff? And, I probably could have muddled through Google, figured some things out, but it wouldn't have been to the quality that our clients need. So I realized, okay, you know what? I don't know how to do this, but Dimitri does. So I'm going to go and say, I don't know what I'm doing. Can you please help me? And I was expecting him to be like, God, you're so dumb. Or that's your job. You have to figure it out. But immediately he was, absolutely, let's sit down. I'm going to teach you how to do it. Here are the fundamentals. Here's what you should be doing. And it was a changing moment for me because I realized that everyone wants to help. Everyone wants you to be better. Almost no one is going to say no if you ask them to explain something or you ask for help. People are nicer than you think, and especially in this business, it can seem like they are too busy to help. Everyone has a million things going on, but I've never had someone say, no, I'm not going to help you. So the second lesson that has helped save my career is knowing when you don't know and asking for help, which I do on a constant daily basis. Anyone who works with you will know that I probe them endlessly with questions. It can be kind of obnoxious. So, yeah. Be okay not knowing. This is my latest new business team. This is us. After our pitch, we got in very late and decided, you know what, we're gonna go to Waffle House because that fellow right there with the beard, he'd never been to a Waffle House, which I find fascinating because Waffle House is like an institution. And so we marched ourselves to Waffle House to celebrate. And this is probably one of my favorite memories from Martin so far because it's the perfect example of one team, one dream. And that's something that we say a lot at Martin, especially on the UX team. Advertising is a team sport. We all have individual skills and we all have our own expertise, but it is a team sport and you will never succeed on your own. You have to work together to be stronger because even if you're really talented on your own, someone you're working against is going to have a powerhouse of a team working together and you can't beat that. So everything you do is related to everyone else you're working with. And I think that's something that too often gets taken for granted of, yeah, we're part of the team, we all work together. But you really have to work together. You have to be kind to each other. You have to help one another. You have to not just care about what your project is. You know, I've done the strategy, I'm done. Okay, bye guys, see you in a couple weeks. You have to be involved in everything, and you have to be supporting each other and have empathy and know that writing strategy, writing briefs, it's really, really hard. It takes a lot of time. It looks somewhat easy. I don't know if it looks easy, but you know, we come with a singular strategy and insight, and it seems like that's not that hard to come up with, right guys? But good teams know that there are 10 million versions of that brief there. There are probably 500 pages of research. You probably have a whiteboard at home that looks like a beautiful mind moment happened, and you haven't slept in months trying to figure this out. A good team member has empathy and knows that and understands that it's something that took a lot of time. Same with creative. You know, creative seems like they're creative people. They just churn out comps. You know, that's really easy. Having empathy and understanding that creative is really hard to do. It's scary to put yourself out there. It's scary to create this work and then have people tear it apart, evaluate it, decide this is good, this is bad, this is smart, this is innovative. That's terrifying. Understanding each other's points of view on the team, knowing what they're going through and creating empathy for that, it will serve you so well when you get out, because it truly is about the team dynamic, which is this life lesson. It is advertising, so I'm going to swear if it offends you, earmuffs now. Don't be an asshole. My first year at Brandcenter, Professor Fensky told us some very wise advice, that no matter how smart you are or how great your work is, if you're an asshole, nobody wants to work with you. And I think all of us are kind of like, yeah, that's kind of human logic. We know that. But it's really true. You have to think about what I'm doing, how does that impact my team? You know, how are my actions going to affect the rest of them? Are they doing okay? Take care of each other and treat your teams like family. Someone else who I was mentored by at Brandcenter, who's now a coworker at the Martin Agency, he told me to think of my creative teams like a wolf pack. You guys are all in it together, and you cannot just focus on yourself. And it's really true when you get out into the world, because it's hard. Advertising is a lot of fun, but it also has some really, really dark moments and late nights, and it is stressful, and there will be moments where you want to snap. And without your team, it's really easy to lose it and to feel hopeless and to feel like the world is crumbling around you. And those are the times where you have to rely on the people that you work with. I count a lot of my coworkers at Martin as some of my best friends. I call them all the time, and they call me all the time. We support each other from every point of view, and we know everything about each other. And it's something that has made my work so much better, because I understand where they're coming from, they understand where I'm coming from, and we're able to work better together. This is a good life lesson in general, to not be an asshole, but definitely in advertising. See the possibilities in the everyday. This looks like a pair of socks, right? Most everyone has these on, just a sock. When I got to Deep Local, I thought a sock was just a sock. But through that process, I started realizing that there is so much possibility to be had in everyday objects, things that you ignore, whether it's a sock or whether it's a plain old Facebook post or a cassette tape, things that you think are useless or mundane. There's always possibility to be had in them. And that's how this came to be. So we turned a pair of socks that are seemingly uninteresting into a cultural phenomenon. They were something that helped change the perception of a brand, and they helped launch an entire series for them. Being able to see the possibilities in the everyday will make you stand out. I hear on a daily basis from creative teams and from clients, new technology, do this, what can we do with VR, what are we doing with AR? And you definitely can. There are amazing things that you can do with all of those technologies, but also don't overlook things in your everyday life and the value of really simple executions. And it's not just creative. I was talking to people this morning when it comes to strategy. I think a lot of people ask, how do you find insights? Where do you go to find insights? And there isn't a map that gets there. It's about seeing possibilities in everything. I have the most success in finding really interesting points about my consumers or things that resonate by seeing the possibility in something as mundane as a grocery choice, a way they talk about their phone, a way they talk about their dogs, things that seem completely ridiculous, comments that you would cast off. There's possibility in everything if you know where to look and if you have a creative perspective to everything. So I urge all of you to not just look for big flashy things. Look at everything that's right in front of you, things that seem silly or everyday or commonplace, whether it's a chair, whether it's analog, cassette tapes, an old school phone, or just someone talking, traditional conversation. Listen to people, look around, see what could you do with it. Socks were not interesting. We presented that to our client, and our client was like, you're gonna give me socks? We're a tech company, you're gonna give us socks? You guys are the ones who do huge, big chalkbots and VR and AR and all the technology in the world, and you're bringing us socks? Cool, y'all are great. But bringing it to life and showing them what could be of socks, what you could do with them, something that people take for granted every day because you just put them on and that's the end. Showing them that and showing them what could come of it and how it could resonate with people. That's something that is truly powerful because you're now showing a client that not only do we understand technology, not only do we do something really cool, we understand people and we're thoughtful and we're not inventing things just to invent it. It makes sense. So look at what's around you before you start looking at, what can I do with big technology or looking for things that maybe don't exist. Start with what's right in front of you and imagine the possibilities that could be. You might be surprised. Everyone here is pretty creative, so I feel like everything you see, you can do something really interesting with. So advertising is, I think actually Helene said this on my first day of Brandcenter that it's probably inappropriate for me to say here, but advertising is the most fun you can have with your clothes on. And it is true, advertising is incredibly fun. It is such a good time. I love what I do. I get excited to go to work every single day. But it also can get very serious, especially when you spend a ton of time within your agency, with your teams, working with clients who treat everything like life or death. And it is for them. It's very serious. And it can get really easy to forget how much fun it is, and that this is a business that is built on telling incredible stories to people and entertaining them and delighting them. And you can very easily get lost in the minutia of, we have 1 million rounds of feedback, we can't make the logo big enough for them, there's not enough room on a banner to fit 12 lines of legal copy, my clients are upset, my teams are fighting with each other. You can get bogged down in all of that negativity really easily, and it can ruin not only team dynamic, but how you feel about everything. So something that I like to think I do really well at Martin, probably one of the only things I do really well, is try and keep things fun and lighthearted. And I think this is probably the best video to encompass my attitude towards advertising. I will explain it afterwards, but we'll just go ahead and... So, great movie, Baby Groot is so cute. Set the stage. All of that, things, shooting fire, being flung around, guns firing, that's advertising. That's how it seems when everything is falling apart, which usually is like a daily basis where it feels like the world is ending. That's everything that happens. Like what I like to be and what I try to be on a good day is the baby Groot, just kind of sitting there dancing like, it's gonna be okay. I have to take that attitude towards advertising, otherwise you will get sucked in and you will lose the fun spirit and it'll start to show in your work and you will burn out so fast if you take everything too seriously. That doesn't mean treat it like a joke, but find the fun in things. Figure out how to enjoy what it is, what you're doing, and be the baby Groot. You know, acknowledge everything around you. Know that there are times where you have to be serious and you should be buttoned up and you need to focus, but also know that it is not life or death. We are not curing cancer. It is just advertising. It is important. You know, our clients' requests, it is very important for us to do a great job for them, and it matters how much time you put into things, but also know at the end of the day that if something doesn't go right, if something is late, if a client will not sign off on a brief, or you have 12 million rounds of revisions, it will be okay. And never lose sight of that, and don't lose sight of the fun, because the fun is why most of us probably get into this industry, whether we admit it or not. We love the creative aspect of it. We love the energy. We love how much fun we have with our teams late at night, having, you know, coming up with these amazing ideas. It's a huge part of the draw. And it's so easy to lose that. And I see that with my teams. We get bogged down, we're tired, we're there really late, and it's like, this all sucks, I hate everything. And you can't do it. You have to have fun with this because it is fun. So I was talking to someone this morning about, you know, okay, that's all well and great. What happens when you work on a client that is not fun, that is miserable, that is horrible? Or you have a client that you have a major ethical conflict with, or someone who is just a mean person. What do you do then? You go back to one team, one dream. Rely on the people you work with. There are a lot of clients that are projects that I work on that are not the most fun. They're not that entertaining. They're not something that are, you know, maybe the most interesting. I just finished a gastric health product for horses. I know, you guys are like, God, how do I get on that project? Sign me up. And my creative team reacted far less enthusiastically than I just did. And it can be hard trying to jazz teams up about, all right, guys, we're gonna talk about gastric health care. We can't say ulcer, but we can say gastric health care. Who's excited? It's not as much fun as, you know, say working on a Netflix or a Google project. But I had more fun on this project than I did on some of my Google projects because my team was awesome. We rallied around each other and we made it fun. You can find fun in almost anything, whether it's playing music in a meeting, bringing in dogs. I know that that seems silly, but you have no idea how much impact a dog can have on a meeting. It's great. Or a wonderful soundtrack. I try to have music going in every single one of my meetings because it's something that breaks the tension. People can get around it. It's something we all have in common, and it's a really, really simple, easy way to pump up the energy and get people excited. So talk to the people around you, talk to your teams, get excited about whatever it is. If it's excited about how, you know, crazy and mundane and stupid this project is, that's fine. Just get excited about it and have fun. You can find fun in almost anything you do. And that will show in your work. It seems really cheesy, and I kind of sitting here listening to myself say it, and I'm like, God, that's like chicken noodle soup for the teenage soul. Like, have fun, guys, believe in yourself, positivity. But it's really funny how much it has changed my mindset being out and working. At Brandcenter, I definitely fell into the negativity trap. First year, I had to work on a project for Don Just class for Lotrimin Ultra, which is a wonderful brand. And it was miserable, and I hated it, and all I could think about was like, this is the worst brand, this is not fun, this is horrible, I don't want to talk about like toe fungus, this is miserable. And you could see it. When I presented it, DJ called me out and he said, you look miserable up there. And I'm like, well, valid, can't fight you. And that's something that, knowing now, there are so many things that you can do to make it fun, whether it's, you know, the way you present, the type of presentation you give, the way you design the deck, adding sound effects, or just being really silly with it. It'll make it more enjoyable, and it'll make it easier to get through the things that aren't fun. Because that is part of this job. You will work on clients, you will have projects that don't immediately seem like fun. They seem mundane, they seem boring. Banner requests aren't always the most thrilling for our teams at Martin. but if you get sucked into it and if you get really negative, it'll show in your work, it'll show in the way you talk with your teams, and you'll end up hating everything. So keep the fun going. And that's not just, have fun. It's just advertising. So I chronicle this is one way that I have learned to have fun, is I chronicle things that I find very amusing on Snapchat for all my teams. The first being things I researched for my team, hashtag one team, one dream. And this was for one of my teams figuring out, can horses get drunk? That ended up with some really interesting Google searches. And my team, that was a very interesting project. But things like that you find so amusing here. Where's Waldo? That is my strategic counterpart, Taylor, who works above me, who's amazing, but dressing him up as a gangster, T-swag, things like that just make you laugh when you walk by, immediately breaks the tension. Martin Twinsies, Snapchat things. It's all silly stuff that when you look at it, you're like, that's ridiculous. But when you put it all together and you really change your mindset to find something fun in everything, it makes a huge difference in what you do, how you think of this industry, and your work. I think something for strategists to think about, and I know this is for all tracks, but what I found this to be true is have fun in every task you're given. Find a way to make it interesting. If you don't enjoy it, the people you present it to, the people you talk to, they're not going to enjoy it. They're not going to have fun, and they probably aren't going to pay attention to you. So we were working with a client, and we had to tell them about their consumer. Who is she? What is her mindset? What are some interesting insights about her life? And a lot of the times we end up just, putting in a deck, and it's beautifully designed. It looks amazing. There's nothing wrong with that. It's great. But I was sitting there trying to figure out how we present this, and I was getting bored. I was like, this isn't fun. I don't want to rearrange words on a slide anymore. I don't want to do this. And I was sitting there thinking, if I feel this way, when these clients come to the office, they're going to feel the exact same way. Why are they going to get jazzed by a slide? So rather than sitting there and, just doing it, it's like, okay, well, how can I have fun with this? What would I want to see? What would be really fun and exciting for me to do? And so we ended up building an entire room of this woman and bringing her to life on an actual wall and building her kitchen for her. And actually bringing her to life. Everything that I would put on a slide, I was like, we can do this in real life. We can turn this into an experience for them. And I have never had so much fun in my life. I was sitting there trying to source Barbie dolls and whatever those giant bug-eyed stuffed animals are that every child has apparently, and figuring out, what goes on the wall? What's on her bookshelf? What kind of magazines is she reading? What would it look like? Not even what magazines does she have, what does her bookshelf look like? Does she have toys at the bottom? Is there gum stuck on the bottom? Probably. Our producers wouldn't let me do that, but tell me about that. Finding ways to make something that we do quite frequently new and interesting and fun, and doing it in a way that we've never done it before, or I've never done it before. I was here building this thing until 2 or 3 in the morning the night before. And I was so excited. My boss came by and he's like, you look ridiculously happy. You're such a weird nerdy weirdo. And it's true. I've never had so much fun doing a consumer insight section ever in my life. So for strategists, definitely think about new ways that you can present things and bring them to life. And everyone in general, but have fun with it. This is supposed to be fun, and if you're not having fun, find a way to make it fun. So 5 short lessons, because as I said before, I have not been out of school that long. I don't want to pretend to stay here and instill a million, pieces of wisdom on you guys and talk about a million skills that I have. I definitely would love to talk to anyone who wants to know about digital, social, being a hybrid planner at Martin. Please reach out. I would love to talk about any of that, or connect you with anyone at the agency. We have some incredibly talented people who are some of the smartest humans I've ever met that I am fortunate enough to work with. We have them there. But I am still learning. I am figuring things out as I go, and I am working to be better and to grow. So I'm not going to try and pretend that I have all the answers. So I wanted to share just these 5 short lessons of have confidence in yourself, be okay not knowing, see the possibilities in the everyday, don't be an asshole, and have fun. It's just advertising. Thank you. And if any of you want to reach out, please, I am just down the road. I am pretty responsive for the most part. I'm happy to talk about anything, or like I said, connect you with anyone. We love visitors down there. Any excuse to drink more coffee, whether it's more tactical digital stuff, any planners, or anything else. Please don't hesitate to reach out.
And talking about reaching out, two things. First, I did not say that. I was quoting Jerry Delafino.
Yes. Thank you.
All the fun I have is with my clothes on. Second, she's right here. I don't get up. Second, she's right here in front of you, and some of you may realize it today, some of you will realize it in a couple of months or a couple of years, but that's some of the best advice I have ever heard. It was wonderful. But if anyone has any questions right now, here she is, because I know that when we break out, everybody will come up to her with a question that you could ask right here. So who wants to start?
I'm ridiculously unfiltered, so to my detriment some days.
Okay.
Daniel.
When you presented that room to the
Yes.
clients, what was their response?
You're the best. Damian is one of my mentors at Brandcenter, at Martin, just so you guys know. When we presented that to our clients, we walked through, it was about a 30-minute presentation of me taking them through psychographics. We did ethnography, so it was a combination of digital information, primary research, and then all of phone ethnographies. It's about 30 minutes walking through, taking them through her kitchen, and ending on an insight. And when we finished, they stood up and applauded and said that it was the best storytelling that they have ever seen. And we're taking videos and pictures of it. And that was something that was incredible for us to see, because it's showing, taking stuff off of a slide and just putting it and bringing it to life. That switch of how we presented information was the difference between, oh, that's nice, that's good, that's smart, to this is the best example of storytelling we've ever seen.
She's not bragging, it just really happened.
And so I didn't say it.
And you have questions?
Yes.
For that assignment, did the client say that they wanted to do more in-depth research, or did you kind of have to pitch it and have them put those resources aside for y'all to do that kind of research?
So this was actually for a pitch, and we went and did it on our own volition. It's part of our diamond process at Martin to understand consumer insight and that consumer section. And Taylor T-Swag, the one who had the nice gold chain, he was my strategic partner. He and I set out to make sure that we truly understood everything about this woman, from the type of gum and toothpaste she used to, is there mud on the floor of her house? And we really wanted to understand that, because we feel it's a brand that has to know the ins and outs of their consumer. So that was our call. And our money. Yes.
As a CBM who graduated from Brandcenter and now a strategist, was there a huge difference between what you learned at Brandcenter and what you're doing now, or was it a pretty simple transition?
There's a little bit of a difference. Obviously with CBM, we have, it's more numbers focused, and it focuses on the client side and what clients are thinking. So it definitely was a bit of a learning curve when I first got out. I think it has served me well in that having empathy for the clients and understanding they're not just coming back with 10 rounds of feedback to be a pain. They have goals. They have their own bosses that they have to please. They have their own internal teams that they are trying to check boxes in their own language. I think that has helped me understand why things don't go as smoothly as they seem to in Mad Men. And that's been really helpful. I still get very frustrated. I'll be the one who's like, oh God, I can't believe we came back with another round of feedback. But I'm able to step out of it and realize, they have a boss just like I do. So that's been really, really helpful. Yes.
So I'm curious about, you went straight to Deep Local.
Yes.
And then I'm curious how long you were there and the transition back to Richmond to Martin Agency. Did Martin seek you, or did you seek them, and that process?
Yeah, so I was at Deep Local for about a year, and then I was an intern at the Martin Agency during the kitchen in between first and second year. and stayed in close contact with them. I loved my strategy team when I was there as an intern and fell in love with all of them and stayed in touch with them. And then about halfway through my first year at Deep Local, they reached out, and Michael Chapman, our now CSO, reached out and recruited me. And I was very eager to come back because that had always been the dream, to work with those strategists, because they are arguably, in my opinion, the smartest in the business. It's very intimidating, but I'm very glad to be there. Yes?
So regarding the seeing possibilities in the everyday, are there like specific things that you do, and like what kind of methods do you use to see possibilities?
Yes. So I can't remember exactly what he called it, but Fensky, full of knowledge, that man. He played a game with us where it was you start with something in a box. I don't know if he still does it, but you put something in a box and then you grow and you grow and you grow and you keep going 1 degree separated until you end up somewhere where it's not even related to what's in the middle of the box. Like say you start with toothbrush and then you could end up with, restaurant on the moon. How did I get there? I don't know, but somehow I have. And playing that game of, how do I keep going 1 degree further until I am somewhere that is so different but so interesting. And then I also play lots of very weird questions of, have you ever wondered what light sounds like, or why light is the way that it is? Asking really silly questions that seem like, okay, you're nuts. But playing those kinds of games of like opening your mind and trying to see possibilities. I am one who is not afraid to make an ass of myself or make a fool of myself and sound ridiculous and stupid, because usually when I am talking crazy and I'm with my teams and talking about, what if we did this and what if we did that, they sound insane, but something cool could come out of it. Discredit nothing. I think a lot of people take ideas and they say, oh, that's stupid, or that's not cool enough, and they throw it away immediately. I think always let an idea live. Always take it and say, okay, well, it sounds kind of crazy, but could we do something more with it? Talk to someone else. I've had that happen. There's an amazing creative at Martin who he takes something as silly and mundane as a horseshoe, and he came up with this most amazing digital idea that almost made me cry because it was so powerful. And it was just because I brought him this really ridiculous, what do we do with a horseshoe? And they can come up with everything. So don't discredit any ideas.
What was the horseshoe idea?
I actually can't tell you about it because it's getting ready to go into production, but it's something for Purina. It is very exciting, and it has to do with the digital experience of bringing to life our campaign of Animals Speak Louder Than Words, and wondering what would the world look like if animals didn't exist.
So your new CSO, from where did you graduate?
Wow, here. Michael Chapman was here when he was here when it was Ad Center. But yes, Michael Chapman is a graduate here. He is amazing. If you ever get a chance to talk with him, he's scary brilliant. Other questions about anything?
Are there any behind me?
Yes.
Graduated as a CDM.
Yes.
What's your advice for CDMs that are graduating that want to go strategy side?
I think if you know that that's what you really want to do, strategy is your passion. I think leverage the people right now, your classmates who are in the strategy track, your strategy professors. Make sure you talk to them and get their thoughts, understand what is strategy, and leverage as much of that knowledge as you can. This will be the only time where you have a group full of strategists and amazing professors who are brilliant and here to teach you that. Take advantage of that now, and then know what your point of view is when you graduate and you apply to jobs. Because, like I said, they are similar tracks, but making sure that it is the right path for you and you want to do it because it's something that is truly inside of you. If that's the case, then leverage everyone here, and they can help you when you graduate.
I've just been dying to ask this. I can understand the human insights.
Yes.
Where'd you get the horse insights?
Oh, Lord. That is the great challenge of my life. Purina is my primary account, and it is definitely something that is a challenge strategically, which is part of the reason I love it. Because our consumers, we do have people who buy it, but all of our work is through the lens of animals speak louder than words. So we have to figure out, what is an insight from a horse or from a cow or a sheep or a chicken? What is an insight about this animal, and how does it connect to this product? and it's very difficult. And so I do a lot of farm visits. I have been to the World Pork Expo. I go there. I talk to everyone I meet. If anyone says they have chickens or they ride, I immediately, hi, let's be friends. Can I talk to you? I've made a lot of friends on airplanes flying back and forth from Minneapolis. I see people and I think you look like you could be a farm owner, and just strike up conversations and try and get as much information as I can. It's a miracle that I have not been arrested at this point, because I just, it's definitely harder, but it's the same kind of idea with human insights and looking and seeing possibilities appear. It's challenging though.
Thank you.
Other questions?
If no more questions, then let's thank her.